everybody in now. Here we are for another episode of It's All About You. And here in the Scottish borders, and I believe down where Sarah lives, the weather is beautiful.
It is. It's gorgeous sunny weather down here, which is lovely. Lovely way to start the week, isn't it?
Oh, goodness me, yes. It just makes all the difference when you can see the sun shining through. So why am I here? It is 100 days of Facebook Lives with you, a member of Now. And most of us in Now have a business. And even if you don't have a business, maybe you're thinking about a business, maybe you're a mum and a family and you just want to be a part of a community, Now is one of those wonderful places and lots of ideas coming up. My name's Lindsay and I am the organiser for this group. And these 100 days are for you as a member of Now to showcase yourself, to showcase your business, to let us all know what it is that you do, and also some benefits, some little tips and tricks that come through. So today we are with Sarah. So let's go over. And Sarah, who are you and what do you do?
Well, firstly, thank you, Lindsay. I love the group. I love the ethos of it. So as I said, I am actually down in Sussex, lovely and sunny down here at the moment, and I'm a parent coach. And I work with parents who are struggling with their kids' behaviour. So for whatever reason that might be. So I've got lots of parents whose children are on the autistic spectrum or maybe have ADHD or have had a difficult start in life for whatever reason, and really help the parents to feel back in control a little bit. Because, sometimes you feel a bit like the children are running the house, or you don't know what to do, and maybe they're having lots of meltdowns, and you just don't quite know how to solve them. You feel like you've tried everything and nothing's working, and so I'm there to help. And I've come to this because of my own needs. So I'm an adoptive mum, and when my son moved in, he was 7.5, and we had a pretty tricky time, I think is a fair way of saying it. And I tried what I thought was every option available to me. I tried the shouting option, which isn't me, to be fair. I'm not really a shouter, but we all do that sometimes, don't we? I tried the naughty step option. I tried the, this, that, and the other option. I tried everything I could, being really, really strict and, putting in lots of boundaries. I tried everything. And actually, nothing really worked to change behaviour. And so we all know that if we're struggling and our child is being a little, should we say determined? Let's use a nice word. Being determined about what they want. And you end up shouting at them or putting them on the naughty step and not doing what they're told. It works in the moment, but what it doesn't do is change the behaviour over the longer term. And so we end up in that cycle of constantly seeing the same behaviours. And I know that you're a parent and, I'm a parent. It gets really frustrating when you're like, oh, we've done this before. How many times are we doing it again?
It's exhausting.
It is exhausting. And so I was very fortunate in many ways to come across this style of parenting that's meant I have managed to actually stop those things from happening. So I now have a 13-year-old at home who is very definitely a 13-year-old, bless him. And it's very much in the teenage years. But on the whole, we don't have big issues anymore at all. And he's able to tell me how he's feeling. He's able to tell me when he's frustrated. He's able to actually say, I need a bit of space right now, Mum. Can you just go away? And on all of those things. And he's also, what's really interesting, he's able to see when other kids are really struggling. Wow, and he's learned some of the techniques I've used with him. That sounds a bit awful, doesn't it? Some of the techniques I've used, but some of the ways I've parented, he's now learned and picked up. So if he can see an argument happening in the playground, he's learning how to diffuse that and kind of resolve it. And I think what a skill for a kid who was the complete opposite when he moved in, bless him. And they're lifelong skills, aren't they? Because as adults, we often end up in confrontational situations, however unintentionally. If we can teach our kids as kids to manage that, they've got it for the rest of their lives. So I think it's for me, it's been really lovely seeing how over the last 5 years I've been able to learn that, and he's just picked it up. And I haven't sat down and taught it to him, because that would never work, would it, with a child? He's just learnt it, and that's what's been so amazing. And of the thousands of parents that I work with, They're all seeing change, but it does take us as the parents to want to change how we're parenting, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, it does. Because it does. I mean, anything that a child is going through, whatever situation they are going through in the home,
Yeah.
it comes out. So yeah, so if you can change the home environment, change ourselves, and by your method, that sounds exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it is. And you know what I love most about what I do is the messages I get from parents. You know, that's the bit that I'm passionate about, helping families, full stop. That's always been something I'm really passionate about. But you know, when you get that message that says, I haven't been, my one parent messaged me actually last week, she said, I haven't been hit for 7 days. I can't remember when that ever happened. And you just think, oh, that's amazing to actually help a parent not be going through that daily. And having gone through that myself, I know how that feels.
Wow.
And just being able to give parents the confidence in themselves as well, sometimes to change how they're parenting and know that it can work. Because so often we're told, you know, and I hear a lot of parents say to me, I'm told I'm not strict enough. If only I was stricter, if only I was this, if only I was that, and being blamed for their child's behaviour. And that doesn't help. You know, I'm not saying every parent is perfect. I'm certainly not perfect. Do you know what I mean? That would be impossible, I think. But actually, you know, if we can support parents to feel better about themselves, then we can change families' lives. And I think given everything we've got going on at the moment, there's enough worries about, you know, corona and all that kind of stuff. We don't need any blame on whether or not we're doing things right. And actually, we need to be supporting parents and uplifting them and working together and making them feel better.
Yes, and especially as the schools are closing. I don't know if it's happening in the UK, but I know France, all the schools are closed.
Yeah.
Which means that as a parent, we are going to be with these children even more.
Yes.
And yes.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I know obviously they're not closed at the moment, but it could happen any time. And I know a lot of parents, and in my group, I've been talking to parents about saying, it's okay, we're going to get through this. You know, let's think about how we do that and think about it as a long summer holiday, effectively. You know, if the kids are given, I know in England, we have 2 weeks off at Easter, which I think is the same in Scotland.
Yes.
So they're talking about adding another 2 weeks to it. And I'm going, oh, hadn't planned for that. What am I going to do? And then I'm thinking, well, actually, that's like a summer holiday. So what I've got to do is see that as a summer holiday and put my schedules in place so that I have a schedule up on the kitchen so that my son knows what's happening every day, you know, fit in, decide whether we're going to do schoolwork at home or whether I'm going to say, do you know what, we're not doing anything, you know, and put those plans in. And yes, it's going to be different because potentially we'll all be stuck in our houses for 4 weeks, which is enough to drive any of us mad. But it is that planning, I think, and thinking about it in a positive way. So, you know, when your child is being very determined and controlling, seeing that as actually that's a really strong skill and a leadership skill. So let's try not to see that in a negative way. Let's try and see that in a really positive. Your child knows what they want, and that's phenomenal.
Absolutely.
So, you know, they are at home for 4 weeks. What can we do to help them grow? What can we do to connect with them? You know, thankfully, we've got 8 million TV channels now. So there's usually something on that we can go and look at. It feels like, I'm sure there's not that many, but it feels like that in our house. You know, and you can sit and you can play games. You can, you know, ring your family and that kind of stuff. There's lots to do. And I think often as parents, we get wound up. And of course, when our children are getting wound up, if we end up getting wound up with them, that doesn't help. We need to keep ourselves calm and as calm and as relaxed as we can do, particularly when they're escalating.
Absolutely. Yes. So the times, I mean, if we are in our homes and if we think of it as an opportunity to be able to connect with a child. So if my son or my daughter was being determined, I love that word, what would be the first thing that I personally could do to help that situation?
I think there's a couple of things. Firstly, try not to get wound up about it, because often we end up trying to get into that sort of battle where we feel we need to win, and that's not helping. So stay calm And I know that obviously you do EFT, which I love. So I am quite often tapping on my hand as my son is merrily winding me up to stay calm. Also recognize that all behavior is a form of communication. So if they're being very determined, that's their way of expressing something to you, and they don't know how else to do it. So it is about being a bit of an investigator and trying to find out what's sitting underneath it. But often in the moment, that's not the right time, because they are in there. I am having that bag of sweets or whatever it is. If you try and rationalize with them, they can't do that. So it's best to make a decision about whether it really matters if they have that bag of sweets, for example, because sometimes you think actually it really doesn't matter, if it's dessert or something like that. Or try and deflect it onto something else and think about something else, change the conversation, do something that deflects it away, and then afterwards talk to them and say, you were really determined that you wanted those sweets earlier on. I'm wondering really what it was. And sometimes for kids, for example, it might just be that they really wanted those sweets. It might be that something had happened at school and they were feeling a bit upset. And so that controlling came out as their only way of expressing that emotion.
Amazing.
So it's about talking to them afterwards, not in the moment, because in the moment, you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah. Well, it's the same as us.
If
anybody tries to sort us out, we'll go, oh, for God's sake, go away. or some abusive language to whoever.
Yeah. And it's like the phrase when everyone says you need to calm down. I'm like, that is the most useless phrase on the planet. If someone tells me to calm down, I get more wound up.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. So we're coming to the end, Sarah. Can you believe that? And if I put my two pennies in there, I know that when I get wound up or irritated or frustrated, whatever it is, immediately it's my breathing that I use. I find myself just taking a deep breath in, and sometimes I might just be holding it, or as I breathe out, I'll just let my body, and that sort of works. And when you do it often, it's automatic.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's really interesting quickly is that lots of kids will then end up copying their parents. So when their parents start breathing, their kids will just start copying, which helps their child to calm down as well.
Yes.
And that's really powerful, really powerful.
I love it what you said there, about your son, how he's actually going out into the playground and using those skills that is second nature to him now.
Yeah.
So I'll be so interested to see what he is going to become as he gets older. I mean, a diplomat, for example, or somebody high up somewhere who can actually stand in front of a board table and be able to work those people to help themselves. It is a skill, it is an ability that you have taught him.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He certainly has some very good leadership skills, let's put it that way. So we shall see where he comes.
Well, I met him when you're up here, and he's a lovely lad. You should be very proud of him, which I know you are.
Yeah, I am. He's gorgeous.
He will be proud of you because you've taken him into your life and the rest. So let's get to a question. So thank you so much. All of that information, it's fabby. So if anybody would like to know some more about the method that Sarah uses, then just contact Sarah, go onto our website, Facebook, anything else, message, just ask. And I know that Sarah is willing, more than willing, to help you in the first instance. I know you can do that.
No, absolutely.
This question, what is one of your earliest memories?
So I think actually I remember moving house when I was 5, and it was January, I think, and there was a lot of snow, which we don't get that often down south. And I just remember there being several feet of snow, but obviously I was quite short, so it might not have been several feet, but it felt like several feet. And my granddad, he had an old Morris 1100, picking me up from school and driving me to the new house.
Wow.
And that's what I remember, is him picking me up from school and driving me to our new house.
Wonderful.
And I just always, that memory is always there. And I just remember the amount of snow and everything.
It's lovely that. And do you know approximately how old you would have been?
5, I believe. when we
Yeah.
moved. So I'm not sure that's the earliest memory, but certainly the one that I really remember, as opposed to remembering from looking at photos, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Um,
It's there. It's within you. And oh,
yeah,
that's nice. That's
yeah,
happy.
totally.
Well, thank you. We have come to our,
Brilliant.
well, we're still over our 15 minutes. Maybe by after 100 days, I might actually be on my 15 minutes. I can't see that happening. Whatever. So thank you so much, Sarah.
No problem.
Fascinating, as always, hearing about your method. And it's one that I sort of have installed in myself as well for different things.
Yeah. No, brilliant.
So,
Thank you very much.
everyone, and now this is the end of another broadcast. This is our 46th broadcast. So I'll be back here again tomorrow with another Now member. So for now, au revoir and see you tomorrow.